You're about to listen to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly, and the author of When Everyone Shines But You, a mental health and self-acceptance blogger and a recovering darkness addict. I have experienced intense anxiety, deep depression and life trauma, but I'm coming out of the other side now. Darkness was a comfort zone for me for a long time, and it felt safer than the light. So in this podcast I share with you my journey into the light and how I move through challenge in an empowering way. I'll share with you tools and nurturing ways to embrace your humanity. I was once a shy, scared introvert, afraid to speak, but that's all changing. Let's take this journey together and learn to fly. Hi there, welcome back to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly Martin and this is episode 94. Now in today's episode I'm going to talk about why we are now compelled to pay attention. As the world comes to terms with this new way of living, as the pandemic of COVID-19 takes root across the globe, we have many choices to make as both individuals and as countries. We can make the choice to have this experience break us or make us. Now for many, isolation, social distancing is a part of everyday life. And so, for example, for me, that's what my life can be like. So I probably find it a lot easier than many do right now. And for some, being at home with nothing but their own thoughts, this can be really hard. Now I did a short video for someone who is doing a dissertation, and she wanted me to talk about mental health and what kind of effect lockdown has on mental health. And I came up with two conclusions. The first being that those who suffer from depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drug addiction, and other issues may find that these symptoms intensify. And secondly, many who thought that they didn't have any mental health issues may find that they did all along. But instead they were masked and hidden beneath the overdoing that most of us engage in the world today. For example, if someone is a very social extrovert who works a lot of hours, who generally has very little time to themselves, they may find that their mental world may be very loud right now. There also could be somebody who is suffering from obsessive compulsive disorder and don't realize it when they're frantically cleaning their home. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. It's perfectly normal that things will come up for you, especially when the mind has been overfull with lots of other stuff for a very long time. And the idea of slowing down for some people may bring up many issues from childhood, fears that they may have pushed down with other distractions. And so many of these fears can arise from our ego. In fact, most of them do. The fear of lack and limitation being a big one. The fear of being abandoned in our isolation as social distancing measures continue worldwide. The fear of death and even potentially the fear of attack. Many people have lived a very outward-looking life, looking out to what gives them the next fix, the next motivation, the next attention from another human being, the next drama. They could be looking out to vacations abroad, social time, with family and friends, big events like football, concerts, and groups that they may have been members of, and all of these things have been taken away for some time. We've been taught to be outward looking, not attending to our inner world. And now we have the time and space to do this. We have a tremendous opportunity to find genuine inner peace, genuine inner grace, and genuine inner prosperity. All of these are not coming from things, people, stuff, distractions, but from within. The possibilities are endless when we use catastrophe, crisis, and challenge for a forward momentum into a whole new way of living and being as humans. So it doesn't matter whether it is because of this pandemic or another life crisis. We could have lost a loved one, been made redundant from our jobs, had a terrible health diagnosis. All of these things encourage us into change and transformation if we let them. We are now compelled to pay attention. I heard this sentence on a video by the teacher Muji, and it made me lift up inside. It was as if somebody was putting me on high alert, that I too have the opportunity to drown in the woes and pain of the world, or find a middle ground, a better way. I've been saying for a while now, we can choose to focus on the negative taking place solely, or we can acknowledge what is taking place, accept it, change what we can, and surrender to what we can't. And to me, this goes one step further. Being compelled to pay attention means we not only do this, but we use this time to witness what is taking place within. We really get to know who we are. We find out what is real about us. We find out what is true about us. We find out what is here, now, in our lives, that we can find a deep, gracious life satisfaction in, beyond the perceived lack and limitation, beyond the fears and insecurities. And as Muji said, your true nature is not lost. I've noticed in myself there are days when I feel pain looking at news headlines, when the media destroys the morale of the people, which is happening a lot in the UK right now. And I feel frustrated when I look down on my exercise walks locally and I see disposable gloves and masks, but disposed of on the city streets, not in a dustbin. It can feel hard to not be scared for my mother, who is in a high-risk group, and wondering when she will be able to leave lockdown. I fear for her, and a part of me wants to wrap her and my best friend Mike, who is in his 80s, in cotton wool. But this is something I can't do. It's out of my control. All of these fears are future fears, of things that I worry could happen but have not. And this is when I forget my true nature. And then I have other days where I walk out of my front door, the sun is shining, and I ignore the litter on the streets. And I look up at the vast blue sky and the infinite sun, and I inwardly smile. I see the new growth on the trees, and I hear the birds sing, and all is well with my world. Yes, terrible things are happening globally. But for now, in the moment, which is the only time any of us ever have, all is well. My true nature, much like yours, is hidden beneath the fear and worry. It is hidden beneath the distraction. And I choose to have compassion for myself on those days when I get lost in my ego fears, because I know my true nature becomes more and more the more I embrace what I have. The beauty that is here can be embraced, not in the future, but here now. Now, many of us could look to the lack. We could dwell on the fact that we cannot go on holiday abroad this year. We may dwell on the fact that we miss people's birthdays together and big social events. But we've got so much more. We have our health. We have our moments. We breathe. We live. It doesn't matter what we have, but how we choose to embrace what we do have. I'm so grateful for the food I have right now. I'm so grateful for the home I have right now. I miss being able to visit my mum this year up north, because to get where I would need to travel to, I need to fly or go on a longer train journey, and I don't think public transport would be a healthy place for me right now. And so I accept what is. I acknowledge the longing to visit and see her. But I accept I cannot, and I make the most of our daily telephone calls and video chats. And I feel the peace on the roads locally, as fewer people are driving. And as a city dweller, this is a real blessing for me, to be part of nature, even in the concrete jungle. We can all pay attention more now. We have the time. We can all find a new experience of stillness, but from within first and foremost. We are blessed if we really take time out and see this. Now, you may be living alone and not seeing anyone. You may be living in an overcrowded family home, aching to escape away from your family. You may be sick and recovering from COVID-19 or another health issue. You may be grieving from loss. But during all of this, we can find quiet time, breathing, witnessing and paying attention to what gifts we have right here. We can learn new skills in how we treat ourselves first and foremost, and then from there how we treat others. We can find out what it is that we want from a much deeper place now, a more authentic place. The distractions are gone if we allow them to be. And now we can find our own true North Star. So what is this crisis teaching you right now? What is this pandemic awakening within you? Thanks for listening to this episode of Kelly Martin Speaks. If you have a question or topic you are struggling with, and you would like me to answer on an upcoming podcast episode, I really welcome this. Please get in touch. Your name will be confidential. Email me at kellymartinspeaks@gmail.com or message me on Facebook via my page, Kelly Martin Speaks. And don't forget, if you feel that others are passing you by and the not good enough voice is screaming loudly, pop by kellymartin.co.uk to find out all about my books, including Book 1, When Everyone Shines But You. You can also support my channel via my podcast page on my website kellymartinspeaks.co.uk via PayPal, or you can buy me a coffee via Ko-fi. Until next time, bye for now. You've been listening to my podcast, Kelly Martin Speaks. I'd really appreciate your feedback. If you're listening on iTunes, please give me a review. It helps me be seen and heard by those that need it. You can also follow me on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk, where you can read my blogs, find out about my book series, and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I'm also all over social media, so search for me via Kelly Martin Speaks on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.